Hello and welcome back to our video lecture series on poetry. Today we're going to be learning about the elements of sound and sound techniques that poets use. Poets are sensitive to the effects of sounds. By varying rhythms, they can excite different emotions in the reader. They use harsh or melodious sounds to convey a mood. Rhyme and other devices of repetition can affect a poem. As we've seen before, poems are very short, and writers have a limited amount of time to get their point across. So all of the words and techniques they use are going to be for a specific purpose. We saw that with diction and figurative language, and today we will be seeing that with sound. There are plenty of terms and techniques that you will need to be aware of for this unit. Please make sure you're writing them all down. Rhythm. The rhythm is the beat of a poem. Some poems are fast and quick, some are slow and gently roll along. The way they do this is by their syllables and the types of words they use to try and get a pattern of words going. Meter is a regular pattern of rhythm. Rhythm by itself doesn't need a pattern. Meter has a pattern, and usually it's a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. A stressed syllable is one that you put more emphasis on. An unstressed syllable you say a little more relaxed. For example, William Shakespeare wrote in iambic pentameter, meaning that he had an iamb, a stressed and unstressed syllable, that went on for 5 times. Da-da, 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 da-da. And that's how you were supposed to read his poetry. It's meter because there is a rhythm and there's a pattern to it. Rhyme. A rhyme is a correspondence of sounds in words or phrases. Look at these examples. Tree, bee, me, see. All of these words have a correspondence of the long E sound at the end, so we say that they rhyme. Now there are a couple different types of rhyme. The first kind is an end rhyme, and we see this in poetry when the rhymes occur at the final syllables of a poetic line. So if we look at this example, 2 separate lines, I had a dream about eating ice cream. Dream and cream have corresponding long E sounds with an M. Therefore, they rhyme. It's an end rhyme because they are the last syllable of the poetic line. An internal rhyme is when a rhyme occurs within the same poetic line. The dog jumped over the log. Dog and log have the same corresponding sounds, so they rhyme, but they are not both at the end of the lines of a poem, they're on the same line of a poem. So we call this an internal rhyme. When we look at these rhymes, we can create a rhyme scheme, where we look at the rhyming words and sounds. The sea awoke at midnight from its sleep, and round the pebbly beaches far and wide, I heard the first wave of the rising tide rush onward with the uninterrupted sweep. Now if we take a look, there are some end rhymes here. Sleep and sweep, wide and tide. Now what we do is we assign letters for these different sounds, and these letters are eventually going to form a pattern when we look at the rest of the poem. So if we give sleep the A letter, wide the B letter, then these rhyme schemes are going to be A, B, B, A. And if you were to look at the rest of this poem, you would see that the pattern continues. A, B, B, A, C, D, D, C, E, F, F, E, and it continues on and on. If there is a pattern like this, then you have found the rhyme scheme of a poem. Hold on, there are even more techniques. Onomatopoeia, alliteration, assonance, and parallelism. An onomatopoeia is when the sound of a word imitates a natural sound. Crunch, squish, whistle. Crunch is an onomatopoeia because the CH sound makes it sound like something is actually crunching. The squish sound is an onomatopoeia because the Q and the SH sounds make it sound like something is being squished. Whistle. The I and the ST make a sound that sounds like when you whistle. All of these words are onomatopoeias. Please make sure you know how to spell onomatopoeia. You will need to know that. Alliteration is a repetition of consonant sounds, usually at the beginning of words. Dangerous dogs doing the dance. Because we see the D sound repeated at the beginning of all of these words, we can call this alliteration. Authors will choose specific letters to repeat, either for an emotional effect or sometimes just for humor. Assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds. Even everyone eats eel. It's basically the same technique, except alliteration is for consonants and assonance is for vowels. And the vowels usually don't have to be limited to the first letter of the word. If you get confused, alliteration ends with an N, and it's a consonant. Assonance ends with an E, and that's a vowel. Alliteration is a repetition of consonant sounds, and assonance is a repetition of vowel sounds. Parallelism. Parallelism is a repetition of phrases or sentences that are similar in structure or meaning. If we think of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, he starts a lot of his lines with I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. And because of that repeated structure of his writing, that is parallelism. Today we have learned about several different techniques and terms for sound in poetry. Tomorrow we will be practicing, so please make sure you know all of these terms and are ready to go. See you later.